of Ghana, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Program (UNDP), is organizing executive leadership program. So, as you can see, we are waiting the president to start the program. But there's a cultural display from the Dodowa Talking Drums troupe. We'll interview people to know their minds and expectations of today's program. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll get back to you right after this.
Well, I'm a professor at the Mandela School of Public Governance in Cape Town, South Africa, and I'm one of the guests of this meeting.
All right, so what does this seek to achieve in Ghana?
Well, in fact, we are here to try to instill the discussion around some of the Pan-African regional projects, such as the Continental Free Trade Area, but also the fact that Ghana can position itself to be much more transformative, particularly introduce real industrial policy at the times where the continent is facing the difficulties that we know.
All right, thank you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
My name is Beatrice from Clock TV, and you?
I'm Sharif Mahmoud Khalid from the presidency.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are your expectations of today's program?
Well, I mean, it's all a part of the research agenda. It has no destination. It's a train in motion. And we are here to rejuvenate and to have engagements as far as intellectual engagements are concerned, to have some of the bolts and nuts of our policy documentations, and to reinvigorate ourselves intellectually moving forward. Yeah.
Okay. So this would help shaping governance in Ghana?
Well, invariably, not just governance in Ghana, governance in the sub-region, because you've got multilateral agencies around, among other international agencies. So it's going to go a long way to actually enhancing even bilateral relations, national development policy programs, among other issues. As you'd see, you have a big banner of the UNDP around, you had the African Development Bank around, among others. So, yeah, we call it a learning hub and also a policy sharpening hub, if you would like.
And I want to ask your expectations of today's leadership program.
Thank you very much. I think so far the organization has been super. The expectations are being met. The endurance is being coped with. Yesterday we were supposed to start at 4. We ended up starting at 6. But the 2 hours that we thought we were a bit late, we had to make up for the 2 hours. So instead of closing around 6, we closed around almost 10 o'clock. And I was worrying. I said, hey, then it means everything that has been packed is going to be followed religiously. And I was happy with that. And I strongly believe today they say we are starting at 7:30. It's a minute to, we are starting at 8:30. It's a minute to 8:30. And I believe the room is almost packed. So clearly, Ghana is being reset. Leadership is having a mental shift. The era where we thought you could do whatever you wanted is dead and gone. And I strongly believe that if you look at the age of the resource persons, the old men have even strived to be here. And yesterday, the vigor, the enthusiasm, the happiness, the endurance with which they were delivering. And because old age will always be old age. You could see that their presentations were a bit ahead of the young ones. So clearly, there is something to learn from our senior members, and we are happy that we have them in our midst. You could talk of the presentation by Uncle Kofi Totobikwachi, the expectations and the requirements of a minister, what a minister has to go through, what the public expects from you, and how you must respond to the expectations of the public. But they put you there. Without them, you are not anybody. The asset of a minister or a politician, which is being the credibility and integrity. If you lose it, you lose your post. It is not like you went for interview and you were taken. So clearly, it has already. I talked to one or two colleague ministers. They said they will be here at dawn. But yesterday they needed to finish their business before coming. Even then, they said they will be here at dawn. And somebody will call, what is happening? I say, we have started. I say, oh, then I'm coming. So it is putting some kind of fear, some kind of newness, some kind of renewal of brain, some kind of mental shift in the leadership. And when you get the leadership correct, the followers will get it correct.
Leadership is key to the success of every institutional planner. And especially where you have executive leadership, is very critical. because it's been said that the rot of fish starts from the head. So if you don't get it right at the top, at the leadership level, no plan can be implemented well. And so this program, I think, is to remind members, those who are in executive leadership position, of the mandate of His Excellency the President, the manifesto that Ghanaians voted for, and the responsibilities that leaders have towards implementation of those manifestos. So I think that's what we want to achieve at the end of the day, to strengthen leadership capacity for policy implementation.
Okay, and how would this help education in particular?
In education, we're talking about the flagship program, which is the 24-hour economy. We need to get the right skills, the right knowledge, the right orientation, so far as attitudes are concerned, to create skills, to develop young people who will come out with relevant skills to support the 24-hour economy. And so the human capital development aspect of the process is key so far as education is concerned, and it's very critical. If we get it wrong at the education level, especially at the foundational level, then we've missed it all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Professor
much.
George K.T. Odro,
All right.
the technical advisor to the Minister of Education.
In partnership with the UNDP, the government of Ghana has organized this very important gathering of all appointees in the John Mahama Chapter 2 administration to learn from those who have traversed this path and to share new experiences so we can reimagine together how our research agenda should go. So thank you for honoring the invitation. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your cooperation in advance. Thank you for your collaboration. Thank you for your willingness to share, to work together as we learned yesterday. Good morning. Good morning once again. Good morning, all of you, Your Excellencies, for your presence today. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama, Your Excellency, our special invited guest from Nigeria, His Excellency Jonathan Goodluck. Welcome and Akwaba to Ghana, sir. His Excellency Dr. Ibn Chambers, Her Excellency Ahuna Eziakonwa, UNDP Director for Africa, the Honorable Alhaji Mahama Idrisu, Chair of the NDC Council of Elders, the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Debra, the National Chairman of the NDC, the Honorable Esiedin Ketia, the National Secretary of the NDC, the Honorable Fifi Kwete, Her Excellency Hannah Tete, Senior Presidential Advisors and Staffers, our very distinguished Honorable Ministers of States and Deputy Ministers of States, our very distinguished veterans of the NDC who are here today to share their experience with us. I call them OGs, and today they would be a collaboration between OGs and newbies. Welcome as well. Mr. Ni Joy Banerjee, resident rep of UNDP, and our other distinguished invited guests, Professor Carlos Lopes, Professor Mandela School of Public Governance, University of Cape Town, and all of you, our very distinguished VVIPs. Welcome this morning to the Ministerial Executive Retreat, organized by the UNDP in collaboration with the government of Ghana. Now more than ever, it is essential that those who lead meet in gatherings like this to ensure they are all on the same page regarding the vision that they are leading with. His Excellency has announced a government and a leadership that is aimed at resetting Ghana. And today, for the next couple of days, we gather around to learn about reimagining leadership in this reset Ghana and what that journey will require of all of us individually and collectively if we are to attain the vision of a new Ghana, the Black Star of Africa, within the sub-region and beyond. I'd like to start by inviting all of us to remind ourselves of the poignant words in this poem, The Man in the Arena. Before that, I would like, as the President has taken his seat, to invite all of us to stand and take the national anthem to set the tone for the next 4 days' reflections. Thank you all so very much. You may kindly resume your seats. I'd invite us now to reflect together on the words of this poignant statement, The Man in the Arena. We can read together. So it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of good deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who, at the best, knows in the end of triumph of high achievement, and who, at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. May we not be amongst those cold and timid souls, but may we know more victory than defeat. Welcome to the Executive Leadership Retreat once more. And these words were once shared by President Theodore Roosevelt, and they resonate even more as we have gathered here as ministers, as men and women who have been in the arena for long, for short, but who have one commonality. We all in this room have scars to show. So there is that commonality amongst all of us, even as we re-energize ourselves for the task ahead and collaborate deeply in spite of what might appear to be our differences our challenges, our concerns for the greater task ahead. So why are we here today and for the next couple of days? Without further ado, I'd like to invite to come upstage and give us a welcome, as well as the program overview and your expectations, the co-facilitators for that session, the Honorable Nana Oye Bampo Ado, Deputy Chief of Staff, Administration, and Dr. Matthias Nab will do us the honors of setting the stage for the next 4 days. Please welcome them with a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Shamima. Good morning to you all. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, Your Excellency, Jonathan Goodluck, former President of the Federation of Nigeria, and then the UNDP Africa Regional Director, Madame Ahuba. Welcome. We are here to give you a brief outline of the program for today. We will end on Sunday morning. We are here because we have a new government led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And we need to have this retreat to equip our new leaders with requisite skills, insights, and the strategic frameworks that will help us navigate Ghana's evolving challenges effectively. We are very grateful for this collaboration with the UNDP. They have graciously supported us from day one. I'll call on Matthias to give us the rundown of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me stand on existing protocols, recognizing His Excellency, the President of the Republic, and the former President of Nigeria, and my own boss, Ahuna, and all of you distinguished honorables. It is a true honor to join you at this pivotal executive leadership retreat under the theme, Reimagining Leadership in a Reset Ghana. Today, we gather at a unique moment, a moment that calls for bold reflection, renewed vision, and a deep commitment to transformational leadership. Ghana's journey has always been defined by courage, resilience, and aspiration. Reimagining leadership is not simply about new strategies, it is about embracing mindsets. And as co-facilitators for this session, we are delighted as UNDP and honored to have partnered with the government of Ghana to co-create this executive leadership program. And as was already said, the morning session, we will dive in straight into the opening ceremony, and that opening ceremony will be moderated by Honorable Felix Ofosu-Kwakye. And I guess in order not to waste too much time, we will proceed immediately with the opening ceremony. But before then, if I may, I would like us to just have some few housekeeping. I'm not sure where, there we go. So the expectations of the retreat were already discussed by Honorable Shamima, and thank you so very much for eloquently outlining the expectations. But we thought, dealing with all of you, we need to be guided by some ground rules, and I will not read them, but just to hope that we will use this space to deeply reflect and reimagine leadership in Ghana, make these next 2.5, 3 days count. So I'll just leave that on the screen. I was told to read from there, but it's quite far. But certainly these are the ground rules that we proposed together with the retreat committee to ensure that the benefits of this reflective moment will count. Let me stop here and introduce again Honorable Kwakye Ofosu, who will come and take us through the opening ceremony proceedings. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
And I'm certainly not Kwacho Fosu, right? All right, so Felix is right here, my boss, honorable, and he's asked me to do this instead. So I'm very honored. I'm very honored. Shaking in my boots, but very honored. Thank you so very much once again, and we dive straight ahead into the program for now. I'd like to invite to come and give us the welcome remarks as well, the Secretary to Cabinet, Professor Danso. Please welcome Professor Danso with a round of applause.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, Your Excellency, Goodluck Jonathan, former President of the Great Republic of Nigeria, UNDP Director General for Africa, H.E. Ahuna, Excellency Dr. Ibn Chambers, a good friend and student mates, Excellency, our own sister Hannah Tete, Honorable Chairman and our good brother, Chairman of the Council of Elders, Alhaji Muhammad Idrisu, Honorable Chairman of the Great National Democratic Congress, our dear party, Honorable Ministers, Deputy Ministers, Regional Ministers, Presidential Staffers, and senior government officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a distinct honor for me to deliver the welcome remarks for the 2025 Ministerial Executive Leadership Retreat on the 9th government of the Fourth Republic of Ghana, focusing on leadership. Undoubtedly, leadership remains the fulcrum around which governments can fulfill the socioeconomic and developmental aspirations of their citizens. In this regard, prioritizing measures to empower and enhance effective and efficient leadership among the high echelons of government in any country is extremely commendable. I therefore consider the three-day event, which has been put together by the government of Ghana in collaboration with the United Nations Development Program, as apt, and thank UNDP for their support and long-standing fruitful partnership with Ghana. While acknowledging the timely nature of this retreat, it is essential to note that this event is also a novel one, since it is an amalgamation of three events comprising UNDP retreat, the government of Ghana's own retreat, and a cabinet orientation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the work of cabinet, as you all know, is critical to the success of any government, including ours. The policies that emanate from cabinet decisions, coupled with their implementation, can make or break our responsiveness to the challenges of the 21st century. Admittedly, the John Mahama-led administration is faced with a Herculean task, as evidenced in the ailing economy, inherited, coupled with external challenges, including aid cuts, trade wars, and insecurity from incidents of terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, the picture I have just painted about the challenges before this government is not only a gloomy one, as I am pleased to also mention that despite these challenges, and in barely 4 months into the John Mahama-led administration, bold steps have already been taken to fulfill a number of key campaign promises which form the basis for which the millions of Ghanaians gave us an unprecedented endorsement. The bold measures taken by government are not just in fulfillment of campaign promises, but are germane in resetting the country back on a positive path. That notwithstanding, it is pertinent to underscore the point that the kind of challenges before us cannot be addressed with the normal policy interventions we are used to. It would also require transformative solutions in line with the policy choices that we would drive unprecedented and sustained growth. With the participation of key players in government policy formulation and implementation, including cabinet ministers, I believe that the retreat provides participants with a fine opportunity to deliberate and have convergence of views on innovative solutions to the multifaceted challenges before us. I am confident that the seasoned resource persons here to lead various segments of the retreat, which will be characterized by experiential and interactive sessions, would go a long way to shape the direction of participants in navigating the issues in their respective sectors. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I have no doubt in my mind that the platform created for participants to engage with key players from the private sector, donor partners, academia, and other stakeholders would emerge with recommendations that would contribute to consolidating the gains being made by government in resetting the country and restoring the economy, in particular, back to a sustained growth and trajectory. To our resource persons who have traveled from both far and near, I know that you could have chosen to stay in your homes, but the fact that you chose to join us today means you share our vision to reset. And us, the children of Dr. James Agri, we assure you that we would put the knowledge you impart to us to good use and fly, and soar, as Dr. Agri taught us. On this note, I warmly welcome you once again to this retreat, and I wish you fruitful deliberations. May the good Lord continue to bless Ghana and make Africa great and strong. Thank you and welcome.
Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much, Professor Kweku Dansubuafo, one of the OGs who is still going strong. Thank you for your service to the NDC and to Ghana and the world at large. Next, I would like to introduce to us our next speaker, our partner in this collaboration, UNDP, Niloy Banerjee, who is the resident rep for UNDP Ghana, would now come up stage and invite and welcome the UNDP Regional Director for Africa. Please, a round of applause.
Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, Excellency President Jonathan Goodluck, Madam Ahuna, distinguished guests. I have a lot of bosses in this room, so I better behave. There'll be no jokes. I'm very, very honored to welcome and introduce my boss, Ahuna Ezekonwa. She's the Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations and, of course, head of our Africa, UNDP's Africa Bureau. UNDP, as you know, is as you probably know, but I better reiterate, is the UN's principal development agency and charged with a lot of a very complex mandate. But I'm here to really talk about Ahuna, not about UNDP. The greatest thing that inspires me about Ahuna is that she's an eternal optimist. She's an Afro-optimist. She's like, she wants to reframe the conversation in Africa as one of optimism and not one of negativity or so, Excellency President Mahama, this is a great time for us to engage. We stand with you in UNDP, and we want to be behind you as you do the reset agenda. Please count on our support. Ahuna has been a driving force for change in a number of pioneering initiatives in Africa. She's been a vocal advocate of Africa's money for Africa's development. I have a very short time, so I won't unpack that, but Africa's money for Africa's development. I think that's fairly clear. She has been a big, big, big driver of change for young women leaders. She has pioneered some amazing initiatives in the UNDP system where we are really promoting young women leaders, and she's having breakfast with some of you, women leaders, in a couple of days. Ahuna also is a big driver of innovation and next generation technologies, next generation thinking, next generation insights. And she's inspiring us all to say, look, guys, don't think small picture, think big picture. And you will hear from some of our resource persons the next big picture thing. I just want to recognize Professor Carlos Lopez, who recruited me into UNDP many, many years ago. You will hear some big ticket initiatives. Ahuna has also been, she's really encouraging us to get into the Africa free trade agreement issue and put UNDP's muscle behind this, which we can and will. Madam, I stand inspired by you. Thank you for being my leader.
Well, that was embarrassing. Because this today is certainly not about Ahuna. But Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama, Your Excellency, the former President of Nigeria, President Goodluck Jonathan, Your Excellency, my dear brother, Dr. Ibn Chambers, Former colleagues, Professor Carlos Lopez, thank you for flying all the way here. I think we also have in the room Professor Dekeye Adebajo, who you will be hearing from later. My dear sister and colleague, Madame Hannah Tete, the daughter of the soil. We have, of course, our chief participants today, the ministers, deputy ministers, presidential advisors, and of course, all members of the functional executives of the National Democratic Congress, distinguished senior leaders, the UNDP family in Ghana and beyond. Dear partners, greetings, good morning. You know, I woke up this morning with the weight of history in my mind, something that I have come to take for granted as a West African, and that is that I woke up in the country that led the trail in independence from colonial rule, Ghana being the first to distinguish itself in gaining independence at that time. That we shouldn't take for granted, but it sort of tickled me this morning about why Ghana and why today, as we undertake a journey to reimagine leadership in a reset Ghana and indeed a reset world. I think the question is, can Ghana do it again? Can Ghana be the first to lead this beautiful continent of ours towards economic sovereignty? To you, Your Excellency, the President, I want to offer heartfelt congratulations on your election to the highest office of the land. Your leadership comes at a pivotal moment in our world, but also here in Ghana's. And we want to commend your vision for a transformative reset. Your presence here today, Your Excellency, for me signals your humility as a leader, but also your conviction that a national resolve is necessary in building the future. To Her Excellency, the Vice President, who is not with us here today, but I'm sure is here in spirit, we celebrate your historic achievement as Ghana's first female Vice President. A milestone that inspires us all, but also future generations, and underscores the nation's commitment to gender equality and the empowerment of women. To the honorable ministers and deputy ministers and all participants, we applaud your appointments and the trust placed in you to steer Ghana into the right direction in terms of its development trajectory, especially in times such as this. 2 years ago, Your Excellency, I tasked my team to develop a regional leadership program for countries that are moving into transformation and transition. This was born out of the realization that Africa's transformation will require bold, ambitious, transformational, and adaptive leadership. With the global shifts now, including in the governance of development assistance, the imperative for Africa's leadership has never been more urgent. As you know, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, development cooperation is shrinking, as is multilateralism. What we all knew before as being in a global village where solidarity mattered is no longer to be taken for granted. And therefore, an important moment for all leaders on this continent to wake up and stand up for what they must do to sustain the future of their citizens. This executive leadership program, therefore, exemplifies the shared commitment between the government of Ghana and UNDP to foster transformative leadership as the cornerstone of sustainable development in times of turmoil. We deeply appreciate this partnership and also the commitment that the Ghana government has shown. Ghana stands at a critical juncture in its development journey, one that demands bold leadership to navigate both long-standing challenges and emerging global uncertainties and complexities. Since the return of multi-party democracy in 1992, Ghana has emerged as a beacon of stability and progress in West Africa and in all of Africa, especially in its economic, democratic, and human development records. Ghana's economy has grown from $7 billion in 92 to $78.1 billion in 2024, with periods of remarkable expansion driven by prudent reforms, natural resource management, and private sector growth. Ghana has also demonstrated 5 peaceful political transitions, a vibrant civil society, and strong institutions like the Electoral Commission and the judiciary, who have cemented Ghana's reputation as a democratic model. Near universal primary enrollment of 98%, decline in poverty rates, and improved healthcare access reflect your commitment to inclusive growth. Yet, as we celebrate these achievements, we must also confront hard truths. Despite growth, income inequality persists, with the top 10% earning 33% of national income. Ghana is experiencing a growing youth unemployment, almost 20%, with those in urban areas being worse off. The situation is also quite dire in relation to debt to GDP ratios, which at the moment exceeds 90% and constrain fiscal space for development. Global shocks from COVID-19 to geopolitical tensions have exposed vulnerabilities in a commodity-dependent economy, prompting the leadership of this country to reflect on a reset about the structure of its economy. Climate change, technological disruptions, and geopolitical shifts demand that we collectively rethink how we lead ourselves and others in a growing, unpredictable world. This is not a moment for incrementality. Resetting Ghana requires leaders who are prepared to invest in breakthrough moments. And I want to highlight a couple of the things in my own reflection that I think would be necessary to guide this reflection. One is leaders who think systemically, addressing poverty, climate, and governance as interconnected challenges. Leaders who go beyond managing poverty to promoting wealth and prosperity. The second is leaders who govern with courage, making tough choices to rebuild trust. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, this past week, we saw the passing of a great man, Pope Francis. I was struck by the reflection on his life and the fact that he had been so sick and doctors had said, be careful, don't go out and greet people, save your breath. And he went the opposite. He exactly took himself out there to connect with the people, knowing that that might be his last chance. And some commentator described it as the fact that he wanted to go while on the front line. That is courage, to understand what our lives mean for those that we serve and to invest
the last breath in demonstrating that compassion. The third is leaders who innovate relentlessly, leveraging technology and green transitions as engines of job creation. Your Excellency, the countries that will make it in these troubled times are governments who understand the importance of investing in new technologies and in innovation as a priority. Leaders who lead inclusively, ensuring that people are at the center of the development agenda. Ensuring that women, youth, and all marginalized groups shape policies. Leaders who choose sustainability. We are in a country of extractives, where we begin to see the drive for development interfere quite significantly with the sustainability of the ecosystem. We are at the danger of compromising prosperity for the future, even as we move to attend to needs of today. Leaders who understand the balance between people and planet in their development journey. Leaders who invest in turning raw materials into jobs rather than exporting those jobs by just exporting their raw materials. The UNDP's 2023 Africa Leadership Report found that nations that embraced such approaches and values grew almost 3 times faster than their peers. Ghana's reset can set that precedent. Your Excellency, distinguished participants, as the United Nations lead development agency, UNDP firmly upholds leadership as a cornerstone of sustainable progress. It is in this spirit that we are honored to partner with the government of Ghana, particularly the executive branch, in convening this critical executive leadership program. This gathering is designed not as a prescriptive exercise where you're told what to do or not do, but as a strategic platform to strengthen leadership acumen, deepen insights, and refine governance frameworks, particularly for those who are entrusted with a new mandate as you are. Our intent is not to question the considerable expertise that already is present in this room, but rather to recognize that leadership in times of transition require collective intelligence and demands renewed reflection and a commitment to national resolve. Today's challenges, whether economic, social, or geopolitical, require us to ask, what does transformative leadership look like in this era? How do we lead with both vision and resilience? Over the next 3 days, we will engage in robust dialogue on strategic foresight, on evidence-based policy making, on adaptive governance, essential tools for navigating Ghana's reset agenda. The sessions have been meticulously designed to move beyond conventional instruction. Instead, they will foster interactive learning, critical reflection, and peer exchange. We are privileged to be guided by globally respected facilitators, leaders who have not only studied governance, but have lived it, driving tangible change in their own nations. Our collective aspiration is that this retreat will serve as a catalyst, equipping you with fresh perspectives, renewed energy, and actionable strategies to steer Ghana towards inclusive and sustainable development. And UNDP remains really committed as your partner of choice to walk this path with you. So let's seize this opportunity to reimagine leadership, not just for today, but for the Ghana we're building together. I want to end, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, by saying I love proverbs. And there is one Africa proverb that says, he who thinks he's leading and has no one following is just taking a walk. Thank you.
Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Are we taking a walk? I didn't hear. Are we taking a walk? It looks like people are taking a walk. I don't know about you, but His Excellency is certainly not taking a walk. His Excellency, are you taking a walk? So thank you so very much, Ms. Ahuna Eziakonwa, for your deep insights and your call to action for us to embrace transformative leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause.